Okay, Bork. So what's up with these electronic cigarettes? Alright, well let me tell you. It basically comes down to a couple, like three things, okay? So you have a battery. These are called ego batteries. And these are your genuine, you can buy them really cheap. This one is adjustable voltage. This one's adjustable voltage. So is this, okay? Don't worry about that for the moment. The one on here is not adjustable. This is a 650 battery, right? So there we have the button. When you push that, what it does is it fires, basically imagine a light bulb. So you have like a curl of wire. That curl of wire goes over little pieces of silicone wire, or thread basically. Grab it really quick. Alright, so you have silica thread. And you have these little wraps of wire that go around it, okay? So inside here, it heats up, the battery heats up that coil and makes it burn red. When it does that, what it does is it burns the liquid. And then that liquid becomes vapor, and then it goes up through the channel into the mouthpiece. Then you exhale vapor. Okay? Now, so you got your batteries, right? Now, these things you would basically call the head. There's so many different kinds of them, okay? But basically they come into two different kinds. So you have this, which is, this is called a Vivi Nova. So basically you fill this container full of juice, it sits on there, and these little wicks pick up the juice. And then inside right there is the coil that burns, and that comes out here. So when you have this on here, and you put on the battery, and you fire it, then it comes out here. And you put a little mouth tip on it, and you suck your vapor through there, okay? You have these other, okay, so those are clearizers. So any kind of clearizer, this is a glass tank, but it's actually a clearizer. It does the exact same thing. It has a little coil on the bottom that burns, and the vapor comes through it. Same thing here. This is just, it's got a fancy shell around it, but it's the same thing. There's a bottom coil in it that cooks the vapor, and then it comes through this tip up the top. Then you get into cartomizers. So if you have your Blue or your Enjoy, right, this is exactly what you're getting. You're getting a tube that is filled with polyfill and filled with liquid, and there's a little slot down the middle so you can get air through it, right? So inside of this there's a coil that burns, but it's inside, all that liquid's inside of that polyfill, and it just comes up. So you can, so here's a cartomizer that I put inside of a tank, okay? So if you can see right here, this cartomizer has tape over, but there's little holes right there. So if I can surround the entire cartomizer with a liquid, then that cartomizer is constantly being filled with liquid. So I don't have to keep on dripping liquid into there to keep that polyfill wet. And I can put a little tip on it and just fire it up. Get sweet vapor off it, okay? So this is just a bigger version of this. It's using the same thing. It has this little cartomizer in there. And these are really cheap. I mean, like, when I test liquids out, I'll use one of these. It's about $1.50, $2 each. So you can fill the whole thing up. You can vape it for, 2 days with how much liquid you put in there before it finally runs out of juice, and then that little coil burns, then it's gone. To keep that coil from burning, you wrap it with a tank so it's constantly feeding it juice, and then it never burns out, and it keeps on going. These cartomizers you can use for like a week to 2 weeks. I have this one I've had around for a month, This has gummy bear in it, and it still hits like a dream. Alright, so, oh, the juice. Okay, so, this is a good one that I get from the Vapor Chef. It's called Schmecto Schmuler. I use that one. I got some different ones of DB liquids. This is Paranoia. This one's a Orange Cream Disaster. DB Liquids is my favorite. He makes amazing juices. So that's what I kind of do. I have these different things and I fill them with different juices and I get to vape them, right? So what this juice is made out of is propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin. It's normally 50-50, but since I never smoked, I actually like the vegetable glycerin more. So I use vegetable glycerin because it doesn't have that like harsh hit, you know? It's really smooth and easy. Propylene glycol has been used in inhalers for over 50 years now. So, you know, your asthma inhaler, that's propylene glycol. Both vegetable glycerin, propylene glycol cause no damage to human cells at all. And then you'll have nicotine mixed in there at a certain percentage, and that nicotine actually comes from tobacco. So, but nicotine itself is not a carcinogen. And then they'll mix in flavors, and those flavors are made for candies and basically the food industry. So, I mean, they are meant to be ingested. And normally they'll be mixed with propylene glycol because that carries flavor very well. But vegetable glycerin also carries flavor well, but it's just not used that often. But no matter what, like if you're eating a Twinkie or basically any mass-produced anything, dude, there's propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin in all your foods. Just get over it. It's just the way it is. So yeah, you're inhaling it, fine, whatever. All right. So let's move on to this thing. So this is a mechanical mod. So like these computers, or these little batteries, they have a little computer chip in them, right? So if I push the button, it can tell it's fired on. I can turn it on and off. If this fires for over 10 seconds, it will shut off. It has a little circuit board in it. It is like computer controlled battery. What I'm doing here, there's no computer control anything. This is mechanical mod, so I can telescope it to put these like really big batteries in it, so I can make it really huge. But I use these little 350, 18 350s. They're 18 mAh, and I mean that's more than a day's worth of use. So the top goes in there, and then I put in a protection fuse because I don't want it to explode in my pocket. And then this button here just pushes on that, and that creates the electrical circuit, or connects it. And then that electrical circuit fires at this top tip. So the outside is a ground, and there's a little brass tip in the inside, and that's the positive, right? So what I do is I push this little button, and it fires. Okay. Now, if I want to put this in my pocket, I can spin this the opposite direction, and that locks it out, so you can't push the button. See? And these are like $18 part. It's not much, but this is cool. So I picked this up today. The coil that you're burning needs a certain amount of voltage. So your basic battery here is going to have 3.5 volts. 3.4? Somewhere around there. I think it's 3.4. These other ones that I have, I can go anywhere from 3.3 to 4.8. Okay. Now, when I charge up a new battery, the only way I can tell how the battery is by normally using my digital multimeter, by taking the battery and testing it like this. So this one right now is at, it's almost dead, 2.9 volts. So that thing's about dead, but I got a battery in here, right? So I picked this little thing up. It's pretty cool. So if I fire it up, I'm at 4.21 volts, and that tells me how charged my battery is. So it'll usually start anywhere from like 4.3, and then it can go down to like 3.3, and that kind of tells me how full it is. So, but yeah, it's fun. We're 6 months tobacco, or 6 weeks tobacco free. Shit, I wish 6 months, but in here I have some Vapor Chef Schmecto Schmooler mixed with DB Liquids Draco. It's good. And that's at 12 milligrams of nicotine. So vaping's fun. You don't have to go as insane as I have. If you need any help, just ask. I would love to share my knowledge of this and get anyone off tobacco. Shit, man, that's what it comes down to. Get off tobacco, and you can have fun and play with stupid stuff, you know. I geek out on it, but you don't have to. I've hooked up friends that just buy normal kits and just have fun with them. They're fine. So, all right, later.